every medication that they tried, hoping my body would accept it, rejected it. So I was then told, you have a very limited lifespan now.
Well, Kerrie, good morning. Welcome to the Red Hot Truth. I'm so excited to be interviewing you about your story, because what I found is there's so many women out there, and we were just discussing it off camera, who have lost that light in their eyes, and they feel stuck, they feel like they're in Groundhog Day, and they've actually sometimes don't even realise what it feels like to feel good anymore. They've forgotten. And you have such an incredible story of motivation and how you got yourself out of a funk. Tell us about you, who you are, and that incredible story.
Oh, thank you so much, Petra, for inviting me here. It's an absolute thrill to be here and to share my story. One of the reasons I like to share my story is, to give other women inspiration and motivation that when you are facing a really tough life struggle or challenge, that we're all capable of getting through it if we believe in ourselves. I was in my peak physical and mental condition. And then one day it all started to change. I started to get tired a lot easier. I started to become breathless. In martial arts, I was starting to struggle to lift up my arms. I went to the doctor. Oh, you've got a virus, the normal diagnosis that you get every time. It was a virus. You're getting older. Slow down, have more rest. I'm a baby when it comes to sleep. I always have my 8-9 hours a day. Okay, all right, I'll start having a massage here and there or whatever and start paying more attention. I got worse and worse and worse. My blood pressure went from 110/70 to now I'm in hypertensive crisis, which means you could have a stroke or heart attack at any time. My kidneys, my liver, everything was starting to break down. And I was at a cardiologist, and he simply said, we don't know what the cause is. All your blood tests, like your vitals, your cholesterol, your diabetes, your blood sugar, everything is totally consistent with someone that has a very active and healthy lifestyle. We do not know what's causing it.
And yet your body was shutting down.
My body was completely shutting down. Meanwhile, I couldn't even get on my horse. I couldn't go exercise anymore. So I got sicker and sicker and sicker, and every medication that they tried, hoping my body would accept it, rejected it. So I was then told, you have a very limited lifespan now, and possibly go and get counselling as to how you're going to accept and deal with that.
So they were saying to you, you're pretty much going to die. And how old were you then?
55. Yeah, only a few years ago. You spend your whole life focusing on living to an old age with a very high quality of life. I didn't know what to do. I became depressed. The more depressed I got, the more tired I got, the more weight gain I had. And I decided to go to Hawaii just by myself and just take a step back. And it was while I was there that I had the mindset to reset and not accept. There has to be a reason. This just cannot be happening.
So that's interesting how you then did you think there was value in removing yourself from all that negativity to go, hang on,
Exactly.
I just need to escape all of this.
Exactly.
And just come back to myself and go, what's really going on for me?
Yeah. I just wanted to spend a bit of time alone and try and process what my life had become. Whether that was going to be all right, I just accept it and start slowing down and winding up and, okay, I'm ready now to just whatever happens, happens, or just fight back. And it was while I was in Hawaii that I started writing down these little affirmations that just kept coming into my head, and it gave me more power.
What did you do to just come back to yourself?
Lay on the beach.
Oh yeah,
That was it.
Perfect.
I walked from my motel to the beach,
Yeah.
and I simply laid there.
Because did you still feel very ill at
Yes,
that stage?
yeah. I couldn't go for a walk up the beach, just to the beach.
Okay.
And I simply just laid there and processed it all. And that's where I know I am a fighter. I do not accept it. There has got to be a reason. And I had never, ever had a mantra or an affirmation before. So I had all these little bits of paper, because in my handbag I had a little notepad. I had bits of paper everywhere. I just started writing down, thinking one of them is going to keep coming back and trigger something in it. And it became my mantra. I have fight-style determination, and I have so much motivation to conquer. Then every single morning I developed my own process, which I call my see it, say it and feel it process.
See it, say it, and feel it.
Where I visualised myself healthy, running on the beach, fit, strong, like I just visualised it all. And I said it over and over and over.
How did you find that you're feeling so sick, you can hardly move? How was visualising yourself healthy?
It gave me energy.
Was that difficult in the beginning? Because, so would you go?
It's a process, and it takes a long time. It is not an overnight magic pill.
And you're using your imagination, really. You have to start imagining.
That's the beauty of your mind. You can imagine anything you want. Your mind, it can see yourself repairing and healing and renewing and rejuvenating. That's all the beauty of having our own mind. And as you say, you can dream it, you can see it, visualise it, and you bring it to life. You add in your mantra, and you add in your feeling. You need to have an emotion attached to it to give it even more power. So once you see it, say it and feel it, hence my process, it begins to gain momentum, it begins to gain power. And if you accept that I'm not going to go back to Sydney next week and voila, I'm all better. It's going to take a long, long, long time, but it's the beginning, the foundations that I was putting in place that helped me to come back and say to my doctor, my cardiologist, what if we start communicating with my allergy specialists and vice versa, which they did. And then I started to research on my own, and I started doing weight training because my horse was a very strong horse and I wanted more strength in my body to hold her. So I started to do weight training. So I thought, to offset, instead of eating buckets of broccoli, I will just go and get fish oil supplements and start taking fish oil, which is a good anti-inflammatory to take.
So was this before you got sick? The weight?
This was,
before
I got sick.
You started doing weights?
Yes, and then I was taking the fish oil supplements. I'm allergic to preservatives, so I read everything, every ingredient on everything I take. The sicker I got, the more I took them.
The fish oil?
The more fish oils I took.
Because you're like, oh, this is supposed to be good for me.
So I better take more, better take more. Got sicker and sicker and sicker over a whole period of maybe a year until I reached crisis point. Then I was my best friend's Google. I was Googling away and I saw something about severe allergic reaction to a fish oil supplement. So read that, and I started to think back, yes, I did actually have signs. I would take my fish oil and a couple of hours later I would have like wheezing, and I'm thinking, oh, what brought this on? And I'd blow up a little bit, but I never ever linked it together. I decided to test it and I completely stopped taking them. And after about 6-8 weeks, I did start to feel better. My blood pressure was starting to come down. A lot of my fluid was starting to move, so my kidneys were working better. So I went to my allergy specialist and I suggested it, and he said, I think it's highly unlikely, but let's take a blood test now, then we'll wait 12 weeks fully, go back on your fish oil supplements, wait 6 weeks, we'll test you. And so that was over a period of time, and sure enough, my levels really increased in my blood test showing that they had spiked again, and we related it to that.
It's funny though that your body was evidently telling you, yes, it's fine. Like you're going off. I'm feeling.
I'm starting to get better.
And it's so funny how then still the doctors go, well, don't trust your body. Let's test it. And I think, isn't that just so true of our? I don't want to say society though, but I think a lot of women, we've lost that body-mind connection. We're not actually listening to the body. The body's evidently telling you, hey, I feel better. And you go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh, it's unlikely. Like, how do you trust yourself and not the professional?
If you go to a doctor and they tell you something and you don't understand, you do not leave their room until they help you to understand. That's what they're there for. Health professionals are there to empower you, not just write you a script and go or tell you have this. You need to understand everything and anything about it. So that's what I try to really advocate. If something's not right, listen to your own instincts. Your gut instinct really, really works. Listen to your body giving you your little signs. My body was giving me signs after I took the fish oil supplements and I didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
And then when I phoned the company that made the fish oil supplements and I asked them for every single thing that was inside it, and they only list the main ingredients.
Oh, really?
They don't need to list every single thing that goes in anything. And then I was absolutely horrified that it did contain sulfites, which is preservatives. It did contain this, it did contain that. And for me, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take fish oils because they can help many, many, many people.
Yeah,
but it was about my allergy. So I want to make that clear. So I was absolutely horrified, and I just like collapsed. I rang my daughter and I said, I've done it to myself. And then I felt so much like self-loathing that I had done this to myself, and I was supposed to pick this up. I'm trained and educated in health, and I didn't pick it up.
So you said to me before there was a lot of self-loathing that you were experiencing because, as you said, you're the educated one.
And I should have known better, but I didn't. So I really put a lot on myself that I had let myself down, and I was trying to punish myself for it. You should have known it. This is where you have to dig deep again and accept your mistake. My mistake could have cost me my life, but then again, I didn't do it because I wanted to harm myself. It was anybody can make mistakes, and I needed to learn how to be kind and forgive myself for letting this happen.
I used to beat myself up all the time too. Why did you do that? That negative self-talk, that was so stupid. And it really does hurt you. Doesn't it hurt you? So how can we tell women when they are experiencing, first of all, how do they know that they are beating themselves up?
It gets back to self-awareness. Start listening to yourself, listening to how you're talking to yourself. You can never turn it off. The only time you turn off your talking inside your mind is when you're asleep, and even then you go off and you have your dreams and everything. Become more aware of how you're treating yourself. Learn the art of positive self-talk, because your thoughts control your actions. The thoughts control your moods. The thoughts control your attitudes. So you really need to learn how to tap in and snip that negative talk straight away. Flip it to positive. And there's tools and there's techniques as to how to do all of this. And it takes time, like anything. You can't literally just reprogram. You can reprogram, but you have to put in the practice.
Can you give maybe a technique, maybe one technique where women can start becoming conscious of their thoughts and just, their awareness? Is there a technique that you can share with the women?
All right. Say, in my case, I am so stupid for not picking this up. Okay. Why am I saying that? and then analyse, to confront yourself. There's a lot of self-confrontation that goes on with changing the power of positive self-talk.
And that takes courage to self-confront.
It does. And you might not like what you're saying to yourself. Do I deserve that? No, of course not. You know, making mistakes is part of a life. Then why am I have this whole conversation with yourself inside and then come out the other end? Like, let it go. I made a mistake. Is that going to now control the rest of my life? No, it's not. I am worthy of making mistakes, and then build your positive self-talk on from that.
So what I hear you saying is like ask yourself questions.
Ask yourself, have the conversation with yourself, become more aware of how you are actually answering it and the impact that it is then having on yourself. You know, you've got to make it all about self. Emphasize the word self. Self-discovery.
Yeah. The self. We were just discussing before how women were going, if I focus on myself, it's selfish. Right? I'm not supposed to just focus on myself. I need to focus on everyone else. So that selfishness piece gets triggered for
exactly,
women, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So what do we say to women who go, well, focusing on myself is selfish? What do we say there? What can we say to them?
My friend Joanna has just left for Ireland, and she decided to fly business class, and she struggled with how much money that was costing her. I should be in economy. I should be using that money to help my children. They're saving for a deposit on their house. I could have given them the money. I could have helped, you know, my brother who's struggling as well. And I said, stop, Joanna. If I was saying all these things to you, what would you say to me? And she said, stop being an idiot. You deserve it. You should pamper yourself. You know, you are so worthy of flying business class if you want. And I said, well, why are you saying that to me and not yourself? Turn it back. All of those things apply to you. You are so worthy and deserving. But, you know, we struggle with this all the time. We deserve to be pampered and spoiled by ourselves just as much as spoiling and pampering others.
Yeah, and I find women who feel that way have lost touch with their own truth because they're externally referencing. So they are measuring their own worth on how other people
will perceive them too.
Perceive them. So that means they've lost touch with their own truth.
Yeah, and their own truth is that you are worthy and deserving.
Because you're born worthy and deserving.
Because that's who you are from day one.
And
you are worthy and deserving.
Anything,
and you don't have to justify to yourself.
No.
Why?
Yeah.
You just are.
You just are. And it isn't did you think that way before you got sick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I was put to the test.
Oh, were you?
And luckily, I felt that I wasn't deserving the day I found out that I could have prevented this if I had picked up the signs earlier. And it took me a while to get back into that mindset that I didn't deserve it, whether I could have stopped it or not. And I do deserve to have total wellness. Exactly as much as I did before.
Yeah, I'm interested though when you said you even had it before you got sick. Like, was that from your upbringing, do you think? I
have very, very strong parents. My father has now passed away, but like his mantra, he had a mantra all the time, and that was, no matter what happens to you in life, you hold your head up and you keep moving forward. And I think I did get a lot of my wisdom from my father. And those words come to me a lot, like all the time, just hold your head up and keep moving forward. And I try to always live in the moment that every problem has to have a cause, therefore a solution. And that's what I really, really delved on when I was in Hawaii. There has to be a cause. I don't just wake up one day and all of a sudden my entire body chemistry's changed because I'm a year older.
Right? And that's so interesting because the reason I mention that is because upbringing is often a very important cornerstone in our life, you know, how our parents were, the messaging we got. And that's not to say that that defines who you are today.
No.
And it's just the reason I mentioned it, because it's important to look back at the messaging. That awareness piece comes back. You know, that was my parents' truth, but is that my truth? And that self-reflection is massively important, because that your friend, I'm almost certain that that's what she was taught from a young age.
Yes,
you know,
preconceived perceptions of who you are meant to be and how you are meant to feel.
The word that comes up for you a lot, which I love, is responsibility. I am responsible for me. You know, and there's a lot of us, and I always put myself in this because I play victim sometimes too, you know, but really when you start taking 100% responsibility for yourself, like everything in my life is because of me.
Exactly.
The choices I've made, the thoughts I've thought, the behaviours, that's me. And that's so empowering, isn't it?
You are completely responsible. And I don't think it's, if something doesn't work out, I don't think it's because you didn't have enough support around you. I think you are your own best therapy.
Self-love and responsibility, do you think they go hand in hand?
Not hand in hand. I think you need to take responsibility to being exactly where and who you want to be. I think you can... Self-love is all about totally accepting yourself. Once you accept yourself in every single way, you're responsible for all of your thoughts, all of your actions, all of your behaviours. And self-love is because you see the worthiness in yourself to practice self-care. I think they all go hand in hand, but I don't think one exists without the other.
So tell us, where can we get hold of you?
Okay, well, I have an online coaching practice. That one is called kerriedenton.com.au, and I also have a business called Motivation to Conquer, which is activewear. My brand name, Motivation to Conquer, was my actual mantra, and exercise is my therapy. I believe in natural therapy whenever possible, so hence activewear.
You should have worn a t-shirt. I'm just like, why didn't you wear a t-shirt? And so my last and final question, which is always my favourite, is what is your red hot truth and how are you living it?
Be proud of who you are. Like, people... I have been told I'm an acquired taste. People will either love me or they won't.
Like olives.
Delicious like olives. And I'm okay about that. I'm totally okay about that. You know, be true to yourself, and that's my red hot truth. I am fiercely passionate and loyal to my own values.
Okay, Kerrie, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
And so,
thank you.
We look forward to seeing everything explode, and we do have some books to give away. You gave me some beautiful books which are now in storage because I'm still in the process of moving, but we do have some books to give away, so we will be running a little competition for Kerrie's amazing little pocket rocket book. And watch this space. So thank you again, Kerrie.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Hello, fabulous woman on fire. I trust that this interview helped you get closer to your red hot truth. So give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. Thank you for supporting the Red Hot Truth, and we'll see you next time.